a few months back, one of the city council members, John Hilliard, stood right up there on that corner, and he said, "This is a big deal." Now, I could never say it the way John said it that day, but if you think the groundbreaking was a big deal, then you know when we pass keys to homeowners and you see what has happened on this block and what's about to happen on this block, it is a really, really big deal. So thank you all for being here this morning. I was just talking to Mayor Woodfin and reminded him that the first meeting I ever had with him after he became mayor, he said that he was going to transform neighborhoods. And if this isn't the perfect example of transforming a neighborhood, building housing, creating home ownership opportunities, then I don't know what is. So we should all be proud of what's happening here in Birmingham. Yes, it does deserve a round of applause. Thank you for that, Ed. So this, to me, is CRA having impact. You know, we talk about the Community Reinvestment Act, and we all know what that is, and it's a collaboration, or it works best when it's a collaboration between banks and community. And so this is what this is. About, I guess 7 or 8 years ago, when I was chairman of the board of NCRC, some of our executives had, well, I guess we'll call it a bright idea. And so we wanted to do our part to address the shortage of affordable housing in communities like this one across the country. We knew that we weren't a rich investor with, you know, the deepest of pockets, or some foreign investor that could come over and buy swaths of properties sight unseen. So we had to be strategic, but we also had a mission, and our mission was to create home ownership and not necessarily just buy houses, rehab them, and rent them. That's a more profitable avenue, but it wasn't what we decided to do. And to make sure that we were going to be on mission and that we were going to hold all of our friends and associates and executives accountable, we put in place a lot of guardrails, but we also put up the first $2.5 million to start what is known as Growth by NCRC now. Now, it took a lot of faith for a nonprofit organization to invest the seed money to have a program like this, projects like this, ideas like this to grow. But that's what we did, and I think right now we're probably over $100 million. I don't want to talk too much. I might spill the beans that we're looking at additional funds and looking at ways to really continue to develop housing and work with cities. I will say this before I call on Ed Gorman. The way growth is working in Birmingham is transforming the way growth is working in other communities. And a lot of that has to do with the mayor and the city officials. The folks that work here in the city of Birmingham have embraced growth and really given it the fire, the juice, the fuel to be able to deliver new houses in our community. So I'm just proud to have been a part of that, and proud to introduce you to my friend, the genius. He laughed, but he's being modest. The genius behind growth, the energy behind growth, Ed Gorman. Ed.
Well, thank you, Chairman Dickerson. Bob has told most of the story. So what I'll say here and now is, first of all, thank you for being here. Particularly thank you to the mayor and to the hard-working folks who work for the mayor and the banks that we have here. In fact, banks who are invested in growth, raise your hands. All right, so you know that's a golf clap. Come on, we can do better than that. Look, without banks' money, none of this happens. And so I want to say thank you to the banks for believing in something that nobody else had done. We created what is essentially a unicorn, and that's a shame. But the unicorn here is we're a private equity fund started by a nonprofit doing affordable home ownership. That doesn't exist on a national basis anywhere else. Why? Because we have banks like these who believed in us enough because of the 25-year history at the time, now over 30 years, that NCRC existed. And so the board put money up, first lost capital, the banks took a leap of faith, and now we're showing the banks today, and we have for some time, but today is a demonstration that's different because the partnership we have with this city really underscores why this is known as the Magic City. You know, Magic City, I looked it up. I was like, how did it get this name? Well, it was the soil. It's the people. It's the people who make Magic City. And this city is magic because a mayor believed in affordable home ownership enough to say, I want to do this. I'm not going to take no for an answer. I want you guys to meet every week, which we do at 2 p.m. on Mondays. We've met every week since last January. That's why this is happening now. That's why you'll see 20 more homes coming up in this neighborhood. That's why the community of Woodlawn will see 30 more homes. And I hope the mayor will announce some additional neighborhoods that we'll be working on here in Birmingham. So the magic in Magic City is about hardworking people and a mayor who's committed to affordable home ownership in ways that other mayors are taking note of, by the way. I can name cities where mayors are starting to say, I want that in my city, including many here in the South, including the biggest city in the South. So thank you, Mr. Mayor, for believing in this. And let me just say, without the mayor's commitment, this doesn't happen. So, Mr. Mayor, thank you again, and let's keep it up.
Your mama told you to stay off people's grass growing up, but they literally didn't leave me any. It's good to be with y'all this morning. There are a few people, there's so many people to acknowledge y'all, but I gotta acknowledge four. One is Carol Clark, representative of District 8. If you can't see her, she's seated here. The other is the school board representative of District 8, Sonia Smith, that's standing over here. And Mr. Gunn, the neighborhood president of Bellevue Heights. There's a person that stole all three of y'all's thunder today, and that's Rosemary Thomas. Ms. Thomas, please stand up. Every single thing we're doing today, the purpose of today is in support of not just Ms. Rosemary Thomas, but every single person that deserves and wants to be a homeowner. So I'm glad to be a cheerleader for you today. Thank you. But today we not only celebrate the joys of home ownership for people like Ms. Thomas, we celebrate the power of investing in our communities. That power is literally driven by this notion of public-private partnerships and NCRC and all the banks that you see present, as well as the city of Birmingham's commitment to making home ownership and affordable housing tangible in our community. The black-white home ownership gap is higher now than 1968. So I read that stat to somebody earlier, and he was like, that's pretty powerful. So I want to repeat it. The black-white home ownership gap is higher now than it was in 1968. And until we invest in our black communities by prioritizing affordable housing, the truth is we won't be able to break that cycle. And so the city of Birmingham is proud of this partnership with NCRC. We're proud of the commitment that our local banks and other national banks have made, because this partnership is committed to lowering the cost of home ownership. This partnership is committed to removing barriers. And this partnership is committed to generating wealth in our city. And so I want to thank you all for being here. I want to thank you all for investing in this vision and supporting this, but really making impact on underserved communities. And so we look forward to expanding this model, which was mentioned earlier, in other neighborhoods, especially the next phase of development that will come to Smithfield. Now, I don't know if you all remember, but it was about 6 months ago. I stood here with a lot of y'all, I think, on this end lot with over a tent, or tent was over our heads. And that's amazing in 6 months. In lieu of the global health pandemic and the supply chain issues and materials being behind, that this has been done in that short window. And so the short version is quite simple. I want to see more of this. Our citizens need to see more of this. And I have every commitment to continue to get this done. And I want many more Rosemary Thomas. All right? And so with that, the way to end is quite simple. This is how we empower home ownership. Let's continue to do that. Thank you.
I'm Carol Clark. I'm proud to represent District 8 as the council representative for the Birmingham City Council. It's indeed a good morning to celebrate this important milestone and welcome the first homeowners at Oak Hill at Bellevue Heights. And that's in the 5 Points West community in City Council District 8 in the magic city of Birmingham. Note Ed and Dennis, I didn't say anything about Ansley. That's a dig. But anyway, on behalf of the Birmingham City Council, many of whom are traveling and could not be here today, I want to sincerely thank the mayor's team and the NCRC growth team for figuring this out, making the numbers work. And as the mayor said, delivering in record time in spite of the COVID impacts on the supply chain and construction pricing. So hats off to this team and the bankers who supported this effort. I mean, it's really, you all have really done us proud. So anyone who knows me knows that I love an old house. And we have many really beautiful historic homes throughout District 8 and the city of Birmingham. But we must have a variety of housing styles and price points so that people who want to live in our beloved city can have some good options. And today, what we've created is some really great choices. And, so these homes that we're building today, that are being built in Bellevue Heights today, really make productive use of 27 vacant lots. And we have thousands of these vacant lots all across our city. And most of them are privately owned and neglected, and they're not producing any tax revenue. But their maintenance burden on the city really hogs up resources that we could be using for other things like street resurfacing, sidewalk replacements, and libraries and the like. So today we're not only congratulating the Thomas and Payne families, but we can also celebrate 27 lots being back on the tax rolls, 27 lots that won't be growing noxious weeds in your neighborhood and, requiring the city's maintenance, and then 27 more families that will, buy groceries and gas and need to dine in restaurants and help us to attract the retail and services that we so, we really long for. And our sustained trends of population declines in our neighborhoods has caused us to lose, so many services. So I'm just excited that we are on the right track. We're welcoming neighbors to Bellevue Heights. We're celebrating not only this development, but what this development, all that it means for all of the neighborhoods of Birmingham. So the future is bright. We're ready to stay on this track, Mayor, and get a whole lot more of this done. And I'm just glad to be here celebrating with all of you today. So thank you. I'm not sure. what I did here.
Well, keep off the grass.
Good morning. Good morning. My voice is gonna leave me. I don't sound right. What's wrong with this microphone? Anyway, good morning to all the city officials, neighbors, visiting guests, and media, and everyone. I'm Johnny Gunn, the president of Bellevue Heights. I can't give all those statistics that the previous speakers has given before me, so I'm just going to say that we would, at Bellevue Heights, would just like to welcome our new neighbors, our new homeowners. I think about a long time ago, there was a set of apartments in this whole area. And I can't recall exactly how many years that had been, but it's been many, many years ago. And I say we, which is including the city and the neighbors and everyone, decided to tear them down. And after tearing them down, time went by, then we, city neighbors, decided to say, well, we need to build some single-family homes, and that thought was in progress, and it continued on for years. And I'd just like to say, commend the mayor and Mr. Gorman, all the banks that's participating, that's partnering with us, and city officials, mayor staff, and neighborhood and neighbors. Had not this had been a vision of some of the neighbors and the people here in Birmingham, this never would have happened. And I also think of that phrase, old saying that says that if at first you don't succeed, try again. So looked like we wasn't making any headway, but our neighbors never did give up, and we kept petitioning the city and everyone else, and even our neighbors, to let's build some new homes. And I'd just like to say and thank the mayor, city council, Councilor Clark, and everyone that was involved in making this happen. I truly like to say thank you, and that and we didn't give up. As the saying said, if you don't succeed, just keep trying. Sooner or later, it will come. And we see the fruition from our consistency of wanting this done. I understand that households, building households have been in a decline. But we see now that it's coming back. We know we got some hard times and some things going on, but yet there is people that wants to move into new homes, want to become home ownership. So I thank you. Also, I want to mention Mr. Payne. I think he lived in these apartments that was here a long time ago, and now he's going to become a homeowner in these new homes. Thank you. So I just again just like to say thank y'all, all my neighbors, for coming out, and truly we just want to welcome our new homeowners, and just like to say that the Bellevue Heights Neighborhood Association meets every second Tuesday of each month at 6:30 p.m. right across the street at Brown Elementary School. So let your neighbors know, and all our neighbors let's join in and welcome our new neighbors and our new homes. That's all I got to say.
If I may take one moment. Yes, sir. Thank you. So we've mentioned Mr. Payne and Ms. Thomas. There's one other homeowner who's here that I want to also make mention of, William Hardy III. Mr. Hardy, would you raise your hand? Now, I want to take a moment to say there's another special effort that's going on here and elsewhere as well. And it involves the work of banks to make loans that folks would have a hard time getting otherwise. These are known in our industry as portfolio loans. And they happen because banks that are regulated have a Community Reinvestment Act requirement to invest in low and moderate income communities and communities of color. Mr. Hardy is a beneficiary of one such loan. And I want to thank the people from First Horizon / Iberia, soon to be known as TD Bank. That's how many mergers are going on in this industry, by the way. The folks from First Horizon and TD, please raise your hands. So, Mr. Hardy is getting a loan that requires almost no down payment and that gives him thousands of dollars in closing costs to enable him to be able to buy this home. And these kinds of loans can be had when we're working with this community because these banks want to provide loans that they know will benefit them when the bank examiner comes to call and says, how are you doing in your CRA obligations? And they say, well, we're doing just fine. Let me show you some mortgages that we've made in communities that we all care about. So they have a vested interest. We have a vested interest in seeing that they make those loans. And Mr. Hardy and others here are going to get good loans because of it. So I wanted to let you know, Mr. Hardy is a veteran, as I understand it, and has some special circumstances that because he's a veteran, it gave us the opportunity to do something. You don't have to be a veteran to get these loans, but I just want everybody to know, we're going to try to get these loans in the hands of our homeowners. And if we do, more people will be able to afford homes like this. And we can close that gap that the mayor mentioned. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Kenneth Free, a little loud. I'm Kenneth Free. I'm the State Field Office Director for the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development. I'm here today to bring greetings on behalf of Secretary Fudge and the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development. And events like this, I always reflect back. I was at headquarters for 10 years. 2.5 years ago, I moved down here transferred down here to Birmingham, Alabama. 2.5 years ago, I would get up here and give you all these stats about the numbers that HUD provided, the money HUD provided, things like that. What I've learned in this 2.5 years, that is a very, very small piece of what makes this happen. The public-private partnership, like Mayor talked about, is the key to success. And that is witnessed here today by everyone that has got up here and spoke and relayed this information. The HUD funding, yeah, we have the American Rescue Plan, we have home funds that were used in this project, but that alone would not make this happen. It is the public-private partnership and the leadership of the city to make this happen. Secretary Fudge said people don't think they can own a home. They can. Right now there's programs to help with down payment assistance that's out there, and the wealth of home ownership is being recognized more today than ever before, especially the generational wealth. And as the mayor said, there's a huge gap in racial discrimination back from the 60s during redlining, so steps are being made to try to correct this, because if you looked at the generational wealth, you own the home for 30 years, you pass that wealth down to your children. and they have a house to own and live in and do what they want. And it just instills that growth in life. Through HUD, one of the things I've always recommended for everyone, we have an agency called the Housing Counseling Agency. This agency will work with anyone, and it teaches them basically from credit scores. Why is my credit score important? I didn't know why my credit score was important when I was 20 years old. Had no idea that it would affect me buying a home. So this housing counseling program, they provide that. They provide counseling for home ownership. Now, one other thing I want to recognize the city for, and Mayor Woodfin and his leadership, we have a program called House America. This program is a voluntary program. Don't receive any special assistance from HUD. Guess who was the very first city to go to Washington, D.C. and stand with Secretary Fudge from Alabama and say, we have a goal? And that would be Mayor Woodfin and his team. And with this goal, they've designated up to 800 homes throughout this, to build in the city and to, meet this goal. When it first came out, I was like, wow, that's a large number. And I compared it to all the others, even in the Southeast. That was the most aggressive goal that I saw. And from what I've seen over the last few months, he's going to meet or exceed it. So a big clap, appreciation to you, Mayor. So with this here today, home ownership, I want to congratulate each of these homeowners. And, everyone deserves a home. That's been Secretary Fudge's push since she came into office. And hopefully the steps that the mayor's taken, the city of Birmingham's taken, the council members are taking, the banks, the investors, it's a community project. And with their help and support, we'll meet the mayor's goal, but hopefully we can even exceed that nationwide. So thank you guys, appreciate it. And I think I'm closing it out, right?
All right, now so is the time that we've all been waiting for. We're getting ready to cut the ribbons. So we want to ask Ms. Rosemary and Mr. Hardy and Mr. Payne to come up and join us so we can cut the ribbon along with the mayor and the growth team.
Trying to stay off the lawn, but it's not easy. They haven't set it up so we can do it. Corey's got it figured out. All right. Are you doing anything with those? Or